Willie Clanton farms near Olds, Alberta, but grew up on a farm in Germany. Like many farm boys, his favorite brand of farm tractor goes back to what he remembers from his childhood on the farm. In his case, it's the German-built Lanz Bulldog. Including this unit, Clanton has 21 of these tractors in his collection. One of the most popular features of Lanz Bulldogs was that they could run on almost any fuel.
Actually, the family where I bought it from, he told me they got the light crude oil out of Lloydminster, 1 load a year, and that was more than enough. They're very economical to run, and it's crude oil direct out of the ground. You don't have to refine it. They call it actually a crude oil tractor. That's what they know as.
Clanton prefers to keep tractors like this 1929 or possibly 1930 1530 Lanz Bulldog unpainted and in field-ready condition. He told us the engines on these tractors are very different from other agricultural engines.
And it's a 1-cylinder, 2-stroke, and it's very unique. It doesn't have an oil pan. You never change the oil. It pumps oil to all the bearings, and then the oil runs down into a sump, pumps it back in the use tank, and the use tank dribbles it into to the piston. That lubricates the piston. Okay. And if you work it hard, it takes about a quart of oil a day. It burns a quart of oil a day.
The Lanz Bulldog engine has to be heated to ignite the fuel because it's a low compression engine and doesn't ignite by itself to start.
Well, the very first thing you do is you take the torch, it runs on kerosene, you light it, you hook it up underneath, and it heats up the hot bulb. There's a hot bulb in here, it's about that big, and it heats it until it is red hot. Then of course you go on inside. Get your steering wheel. Just the throttle. You probably pump a couple of times. You pump diesel. I run it on diesel. I run diesel. Inject diesel into the hot bulb. And when the hot bulb is red hot, it only takes a couple of kicks, and away it goes. Pull it out, and drive away.
Other than the World War II years when Hitler forced the factories to build war machines, Lanz Bulldog tractors were made in Germany from the 1920s to the mid-1950s. In 1956, the company was purchased by a leading American farm equipment company.
John Deere was looking to get a foothold into Europe, to build farm machines in Europe, and they bought the Lanz company. So they bought a tractor company, and they had the dealerships, they had the whole thing. And this tractor you see behind you, for 2 more years they were sold over here, but in the John Deere colors, green and yellow colors, and then they stopped making them.
Clanton says John Deere collectors are beginning to discover this historical connection, and many want to add 1 or 2 Lanz Bulldogs to their collections.
The other thing is, there's so many antique tractors now on the market, and all the ordinary stuff, the price went down quite a bit. If I want to sell this whole collection tomorrow, and I just make a couple of phone calls to Europe, and I gotta have people here tomorrow. They would be here meeting and buy the whole thing and ship them out of here.
On the day of our visit, Clanton was preparing to host a Lanz Bulldog parade and video shoot at his farm. Some visitors even brought their own Lanz Bulldog tractors, including Peter Philipson, also of Olds, who was driving one of the first Lanz Bulldogs built in 1921.
This one's actually started quite a revolution in Europe. There's a lot of copies of it. There's about 18 companies that copied this Lanz.
Philipson has only owned this 12-horsepower Lanz Bulldog for about a year. It's an extremely rare tractor and probably the only one left in Canada. He says right now it's worth right around $50,000. The tractor itself was rebuilt with various parts from the early 1920s models.
The bottom part has modern brakes on it, 1925, something like that. This is actually for, you have to be into it a little bit, I guess, but this is the combination that you would like to see, the big flywheel old engine and actually some brakes on it. The first ones had pads on the wheels. That, of course, not very practical. So.
Like other Lanz Bulldogs from the early 1920s, this unit has no reverse gear. If you want to back up, the engine has to be reversed manually.
You just slow it down and you look at the flywheel, and then when it starts to rock back and forth, you give it again, and then it runs the other way, if you do it right.
Another visitor on this day was Claus Munsenmeyer of Sherwood Park, Alberta, driving his restored 1929 1530. He had to rebuild this tractor pretty much from the ground up, including finding and making parts.
And the main bearings, the side covers, a complete new clutch system, the front axle, here, those boards.
One of the things collectors enjoy most about Lanz Bulldogs is that the engines are relatively easy to work on because the design is so simple.